This conference will now be recorded.
So during the earlier classes, we have discussed about Azure repos, like how we are going to save the code into Azure repos. I hope everybody completed this step. No? If not, please try to complete it. Because once if you send this form, then only you will be getting access for the pipelines. If not, you will be end up with the error saying that to request for a parallelism, send an email to this. Like that, they are going to show you. Okay. So earlier we are able to see some code changes here. What I have done was I have directly bought all the code changes from my GitHub to Azure repos. Did I get only the code or the history also? When I say history, what do you mean by history?
Commit IDs and commit
Commit
messages.
IDs, authors, made pull request, how many number of pull requests has happened. All these things you can see. Okay. So also I have created this was the earlier branch itself, right? When I bought the code. Okay. Now inside the repos, I have a repository called IRCTC. I want to create one more repository in the same project. Okay. I want to create one more repository. This time I'm not going to import any code. I want to write my own code. So click on new repository. What is the repository name that you want to create? So SCR, I'm just writing it as SCR. Do you want to add a README file? Yes, and create this. Once you create it, a repository is created for you. And what is the default branch that you get? Main branch. And a README file was created, and you are able to see it was just changed right now. Okay. Now I want to add some files into it. So from the user interface point of view, first we will see how to add the files. So click on these three dots. You are able to see some options. If you want to upload the files directly to the repo, you can do it. Or else you can create a files and folders. I'll just create a file. I'm going to name this as file1 and just create it. Do you want to write any content inside it? I'm just going to write something called this is demo and just save this. Commit. To which branch you are committing? Main branch. If you want to write custom message, this is where you can write the custom message. So you can write just for practice and just commit the changes. And you can see last one more option. I'll show you. I just randomly click that. So I'm going to create one more file called file2, create it, add some data into it, and just commit it. Yeah, like this is the commit message, and this is the branch name that I'm committing for. And if you see here, work item to link, wherever you see work item, ignore that. As of now, ignore it because in future we are going to discuss about it. So just commit the changes. So I'm able to commit my changes directly into the main branch with the help of user interface. I want to create one more branch. The branch name is called feature branch. So earlier, how did you create? In your local system, you have entered a command called git branch followed by the branch name. In the GitHub, in the drop down, you used to create one, right? Like the same way, here I can see the information of the branch. I want to create a new branch. What is the branch name? The branch name is called future. Based on which branch I want to take the code. Take whatever the code that is available in the main branch. Create it. So I created future branch, and inside the feature branch I am able to see whatever that is there in the main branch. Okay. Now see the scene. We should not make any code changes directly on top of the main branch. Why? Because on the main branch we have the original code. We should not disturb the original code. So that's why what I have done, I have created a branch called feature branch. And now if I want to add any files, I'm going to add the files here. So I want to create file 3. In which branch I am creating? In future. So commit the changes. I'm just keeping an empty file. So the branch that I am pushing is future branch. So let's commit the changes. So in the future branch, how many files I have? 3 files. Now in the main branch, two files. I want to merge the changes from future branch to the main branch. So what do you call that? PR. PR stands for pull request. How can I create a PR in the Azure DevOps? So under the repos, you will be having an option called pull request. Click on the pull request. I want to create a new pull request. You can take any of these two. Why I am getting here was, if you see somebody updated future just now. How does it know? Because it is always trying to compare with the main branch. So somebody made some changes in the future branch. That's why it is giving me this request. Even if you cancel this and if you want to create it from here, you can do it. So just do it from here. What is the source branch? Future. I want to merge it into which branch? Main branch. And you can see in the overview, you can see that one file is there. How many files are there? Only one file. I'm going to commit. How many commits I have done? Only one commit. Okay. Now I want to merge the changes. So description, if you want to write any, you can write it. Just go down. You are able to see one create option. So create it and see this. There are no merge conflicts. Okay. And once it is done, on the top itself, you will be able to see complete it, and see the images. As right now, it is merge no fast forward. So I'll just change it to something else. See the image. It is different. See the rebase and fast forward. It is different, right? So each and every merge type is going to be different. Understood? So as of now, for my understanding, what I'm doing is I'm just keeping the normal merge. So you created a future branch and you added it, and finally you are going to merge it into the main branch. Yes. Do you want to delete the future branch after merging? I don't want to delete it. Do you want to complete the associated work item? So wherever you see work item, ignore it and complete the merge. And it is merging the pull request and says that it is completed. Now I want to verify whether the changes from the future branch has been merged into the future branch or like main branch. Go to files. In the main branch I can see three files, right? So three files I'm having here. Now if you go to commits, you will be able to see all the commit IDs. See, a person has added file number 3. See, after this somebody created file 3 in which branch? Future branch. Again they merged into which branch? Main branch. So you can user interface with the help of a graph, you will be able to understand it. So like this, they have made commits. And how many number of persons has pushed it? Like what are the number of pushes that has been done to this repository? You can see pull request. They pushed some changes into the main branch. Like this, you can see n number of things. Branches. If you go to branch, you will be able to see the number of branches here. Okay. In real time, what everybody does is they will go to this mine page and they will be able. They don't like. They are not going to see their own branch. See, if you create the branch on your own, you will be able to see under mine. If you click on all, you are going to see all the branches. Okay. So this is what you need to understand, because everybody does this mistake. They go to mine and they see that this branch is not there. So if the branch is created by someone else, is it going to show it under your? No, right? So that's why you need to select all. Okay. Tags. If you want to store any commit IDs, you can make use of tags. So as of now, just ignore this. So files, I'm able to see all the number of files. Commits, I can see the commit IDs. Pushes, so if you want to see the commit ID, see this. Click on this. Open this commit ID. This is the commit ID, right? So you can copy the commit ID from here. Okay. Now I have a scenario. So I want to modify file 3. So file 3 as of now it is empty. Somebody wants to modify it. So they created a future branch. Let's consider it is only me. I already have file 3. I want to write some data into it. Click on edit and write this is Hyderabad. So just commit the changes, and once committed, again you need to create a pull request to merge the changes into main branch. This time I will use this pull request. Anything is same. Okay. Merge the future branch changes into main branch and just click on create, complete, complete. That's it. Okay. This is how you can merge the changes. If you go to files and the main branch, so this is in future branch, right? So just change it to the main branch and I'm able to see my changes here. So somebody recently committed something into the file 3. I want to know what was the changes. Earlier what was there, now what was there. So you can go to history here. So click on that particular file and go to history. And you can see that. So click on this updated file 3. Earlier it was nothing. Now they added this one. Like this, will you be able to see the changes or not? Yes. So like this, you will be able to see the changes. And this way I'm able to find the history of a specific file. Now one question for me. I am going to add, so till this point it is fine. Again I am going to feature branch. Again I am going to file 3 and I am going to modify this from this to Chennai and commit the changes. And again I want to create a pull request. Create the pull request, merge it into the main. So I'm just going a little bit fast because all these things are common. Complete this. It is completed. If you go to file 3, again you will be able to see Chennai. So somebody has made some changes in the file 3. I am clearly able to see that Chennai was replaced. How? By going into the history, I can find it. Recently, somebody updated it, right? I want to revert it back. That means, when I say revert it back means what? I want to go to the earlier changes. How can you go? So, go to commits. This was the latest commit ID, right? Click on this commit ID. And this was the latest one that is added. I'm able to see the green and red color, right? I want to revert this commit. So here we have the three dots, right? Click on revert. Target branch, future branch. And what happens, see this. Topic branch name required. So what it is doing is, it is trying to create a new branch. So just click on revert and see what happens. See, again it is asking me to do the pull request. So what I will do is, I'll just duplicate this. So if you go to the repos and if you see the branches, a new branch is created, right? In this branch, what is the code that we have in file 3? It is Hyderabad. What do we have in the future? Chennai. Now, whatever I have in this branch, I want to merge it into future branch. So that's why it has taken you to this page. Understood? So whatever the commit ID was there, that if you want to restore, on that commit ID, it created a branch. In that branch, what do you have? Earlier changes. Finally, if you want to merge that into a future branch, you need to raise the PR. So this is how you need to create the PRs and finally revert back the changes. Understood? So this is how you need to revert the changes. If you want to revert back a specific commit ID, go to that commit ID, click on the three dots, then you will be finding revert option. So revert it. When you do the revert, what happens? It will create one more branch. In that branch, we have the earlier changes. That changes I want to merge it into future branch. So this is how you are going to revert it back. Understood it, or you want me to explain one more time this? Understood it? Okay. So if you go to files and in the future branch, if you click on file 3, you will be having Chennai right now. If you want to merge that into main, again create a pull request and merge it. Now tell me one scenario. I am able to see one point is whatever I want to modify, I'm able to modify both in main branch and future branch. But what was the scenario? Like my management told me not to make any changes directly in the main branch. So that's why I'm creating future branch. Like this, I can create n number of branches and I can directly merge it into the main branch, right? Is there any security? No, right? So I want to provide some security to it. Nobody should not if anybody is trying to merge the request, I should add some approvers. There should be somewhere case sensitive methods also I need to provide. When I say case sensitivity, the folder structure should not be like inside A it should be B folder, inside B it should be C folder. It should not be like that. Can I specify some of these conditions? Yes, you can specify. Those are called as policies. Adding the number of reviewers and specifying the case sensitivity and folder structures, all these things you can mention. Those are called as policies. Now you understood, right? If I want to make any changes, directly I'm creating a future branch. There I'm making the changes. Directly I'm merging into the main branch. Is there any security? No, no security as of now. I want to provide some security to it. How can you provide the security? So that's what we are going to discuss today. Before discussing that, I just want to show you some things. So when you click on this Azure DevOps logo, you will be getting into the main page. So this is organization. This is project. I want to let's consider a scenario like HCL is an organization. Whether HCL is going to deal with only one project? No, there will be a number of projects. Like the same way, I want to add a user. I want to add a user. If I want to add a user, take an example. If you are onboarded to the HCL company, if they have selected you, they will onboard you to the HCL. And once they onboarded, what they are going to do, they are going to allocate you to the project, right? If they want to allocate you to the project, first you should be onboarded to HCL, right? Like the same way, I want to give a user, I want to give a user access or I want to invite a user. First, where I need to invite? On the organization level, first I need to invite them. Once after inviting, I will give him the access to the projects. Okay. So now, if you click on this Azure DevOps logo, you will be under organization. Here you are able to see organization settings. But if you go to the projects, there you are going to see project settings. So organization settings, project settings are completely different. Now I want to invite a user. So go to organization settings. Here, these are all the settings. So just first we will go with the basic things. So if you go to overview to access this URL, this is what the URL that you need to access your Azure DevOps. And as of now, I have logged in the name called Sanjay, and he is the owner of this organization. Okay. Go to projects. How many projects we have? Only one project. That is IRCTC. Go to users. So this is where I need to invite the users. So first I want to give a user a specific access, or I want to add a user. Go to users, add the user. I want any one person's email ID. AJIPU 555 at the rate. So add this user. Okay. What kind of access level that you want to give to this user? Here I can see three kinds of access levels: basic, stakeholder, Visual Studio subscriber. Now, what is the access that I want to give him? So first go with the basic. So if you go with the basic, what happens is in Azure DevOps, we have different kind of services or features. If you give basic access, he is able to use all the features. Most of the features he can use. If you go stakeholder access, you can invite n number of users, but they will be having only few features. If you take Visual Studio subscriber, he will be able to access both basic and test plans also. I will tell you why. So Azure DevOps access levels. So I'm giving you the documentation here itself. So whatever the doubt you have, you can directly search it in the Google. See, this is what you need to do. In the real time, this is what going to help you. So access levels in where Azure DevOps. So see this. I want to invite a user, so that's why I just added the user. Now it is asking me what kind of access level does you want to give. Basic, basic plus test plans, stakeholder, Visual Studio subscriber. Yours is a free subscription, so you will be able to see only basic, stakeholder, and Visual Studio subscriber. Okay. What does the basic access gives you? It gives access to the most of the features, and you can do assign to users with a Visual Studio subscription, professional subscription. If anybody is having Visual Studio subscription, I told you, if you remember, whoever is having Visual Studio subscription, then this is free for them. So you can give them the basic access. So he can use most of the features. And then if you go to stakeholder, for example, you think that right now I have one Visual Studio subscription. I have one Visual Studio subscription. Can I invite 100 users? If you want to invite, you can invite. But what happens is, as a Visual Studio subscription, if you are having, you can invite only 5 users. Only 5 users it is possible. After that, if there is a person who is from outside the organization, they just want to see our projects. We don't have to give him the complete access. At that time, you can go stakeholder. This can be assigned to unlimited users for free. If they want to only read the projects and see the projects, they can make use of stakeholder access. If somebody wants to create the pipelines, push the code into the repos, at that time you can give the basic. Visual Studio subscriber. Assign the users to who already have a Visual Studio subscription. And what happens is, if you are buying a Visual Studio subscription, based on what they are going to buy, based on your email ID, they are going to buy. So if you take Visual Studio subscriber, so it is going to look for the email address of yours. And once if it validates that this person is having the access, like if this person is having the Visual Studio subscription, then it is going to provide you the access. You can take any of the basic or this Visual Studio subscription. And the system automatically recognizes the user subscription based upon your email address. And you can also make use of Visual Studio test plans and all the things. During our course, we are not going to deal with the test plans, because if you write the original code, then you will be knowing how to write the test cases. So those test cases needs to be implemented. But as of now, what I am doing was I am trying to take the code from somewhere in the public repository, and I'll just, even I don't know which project I will take, which persons I will take. I'll just take the code and I will try to show it in front of you. Okay. We have three kinds of different access levels: basic, Visual Studio subscriber, and stakeholder. If you want to give unlimited users for free to access Azure DevOps, then you can give them stakeholder. If you go basic, they can use most of the features. If you give Visual Studio subscriber, based upon your email ID, it is going to authenticate, and it is going to look for whether this person has the Visual Studio subscription or not. Based upon that, it can give the access. Okay. So these three are the access levels that I have. For this Chetu, I want to give basic access. Okay, I'm inviting him on the organization level. In the organization, how many projects I have? One project. So I want him to access IRCTC project. Send an email invite. Before that, see this: reader, contributor, administrator. What does a reader can do? He can read, but he cannot make any change. What does a contributor can do? He can create, delete, modify, anything he can do. What does the administrator can do? He can also create, delete, modify, right? Then this contributor and administrator both are same, right? But there is one more option for it. As an administrator, you can, as an administrator you can invite other people, but as a contributor you cannot invite. Okay, you will be having some more extra permissions when compared with the contributor. So the administrator is completely different and contributor is different. As a contributor, you can create, delete, modify, but you cannot invite other people. So that's why I'm going to make him as a contributor. Add this. So we sent, once we added, what happens was he is going to receive an email saying that you have been invited to Azure DevOps organization. So once after this class, you can just log in with this. So you will be getting an email from the Microsoft saying that you have been invited to Azure DevOps. So please try to log in. Okay. So I have given the basic access and I just added one user. Like the same way, I want to add one more user. I'll tell you why I am adding the users. So test2 at the rate gmail.com. So this randomly I'm giving it. Access level basic. Add to projects. Yes, I want to add him to the project of IRCTC. So this is how you need to add the users. Till this point, it is fine. Let's go to billing. But in real time, you will never be able to see this billing option because you won't be having access to that. Billing, they'll never give access to this. So what kind of billing that you are going to pay, all those dollar information, they are not going to share it with you. So let's see. Billing has not been set up for this organization and access will be available up to free tier limits. So since this is a free tier account, you can use it for 1 year. You can use the Azure DevOps for 1 year. After that, if you want to use, you need to pay. Okay. Now, if you see here, pipelines for private projects, repos and test plans, all these things, if you see, Microsoft hosted CI/CD. You can run the pipelines for 1800 minutes for free. After that, you need to pay. Self-hosted agent. What is self-hosted agent? That's a different point. If you want to run the pipelines, if you go with MS hosted, you can run it only for 1800 minutes for free. After that, if you go for self-hosted, you can use it for one machine you can use. Okay. So as a basic user, how many for basic users, how many people you can invite for free? 5 users. And if you want to start the basic plus test plans, if you see in this, you can have basic plus test plans. If you want to have this, you need to again start the trial. So better avoid this. Okay. Now, what is the default access level for new users? They are going to give stakeholder because since it is a free account, they want to give the access for all the other people also, right? Like you will create one user, and you want to give stakeholder access so that they will be able to read everything inside it. So they will be having less permissions. So, but default access for the new users it will be stakeholder. Okay. Go to global notifications. Whenever any pull request is completed, for example, we have 5 people. There is a person called Ramesh. He created the pull request and he merged the changes into the main branch. Whether once he create the pull request, whether we need to get an email notification or not. Once the PR gets completed, we need to get a notification or not. If the PR gets failed, we need to get a notification or not. So all these kind of notifications you can mention under global notifications. Whenever the build completes, whenever the pull request added or removed, pull request completion failures, all these things you can do it in the global notification. By default, it will be available for all the users. Okay. And then I have one more setting called Azure Active Directory. Basically, let's consider my company is HCL and I want to maintain the user information somewhere, right? Somewhere in the sense where you are going to maintain. So in my company there are 3000 employees. In the 3000 employees there are 1000 testers, 1000 developers, 1000 administrators, something there are n number of people, 1000 managers or something like this. Consider a scenario. I am a manager and you guys are under me. Is it possible for me to see the packages of viewers? Can I see your packages as a manager? Yes. As a developer, will you be able to see my package? Why you are not able to see? Because of the role. Your role is developer, my role is manager. What happens? So based upon the role, you will get the more access, right? For example, take a scenario. I have 10 people. These 10 people, I want to give them the access of manager. For these 10 people, I want to give them the role of manager. So what you will do, first you will add the 10 users, and then you will go to each user and you will make him as a manager. And at some point of time, these 10 people access, you want to make them as a developer. Again, what you need to do, again you need to go to the each user, and then make him as a developer. How many times you are doing? Two times. Like 20 times you are doing, changing the role. I will give you a better scenario. First add the 10 people in a group and give the role on top of the group itself, so that whoever is having inside the group, they will be able to get the role correct, right? Understood, right? Like this, in a real organization, what happens was, there will be n number of people. So n number of people will be having n number of roles. Each and every company is going to maintain the information of the employees or the users in a location called active directory. So what does the active directory contain? It contains the user relation and then user and the user roles. As of now, just try to think like this. It contains the user and user role. Active directory is a on-premises one. Now we are everything where we are working, everything we are working in the cloud, right? Azure also giving you one service called Azure Active Directory. So you can store your user information in the cloud by using Azure Active Directory. In the Azure Active Directory, you can have users and user roles. Right now, my company is HCL. We have signed up for a new, what do you call, new Azure DevOps account. I want to give this project access to Wipro people. Okay, then how can you give it? Wipro also will maintain some user information in a location, right? That is called as Active Directory. If you want to connect other organizations Active Directory into your Azure DevOps account, you can connect the directory. If you are inside an organization, if you are trying to send an email to a specific person, so if you try to hit and there are 100 people inside an organization with the name starting from Ramesh. If you try to keep Ramesh, it will give you the number of suggestions. Ramesh what? Like this, it is going to automatically give you, right? How it is giving automatically? Because the Active Directory, it is linked in, is trying to show you the number of people starting with Ramesh. Like that, if I just add the Wipro people into this my Active Directory, once I add, if I try to add the users there, it will automatically populate and show me what is the user. So if I want some other organizations to work on my Azure DevOps, I can directly connect their Active Directory. Okay, so this way I can make use of Active Directory. Till this point it is fine. So why I have explained about the users was, I was saying, if you want to merge the code changes directly, we cannot merge. In between, there are reviewers. If there are reviewers, that means that first there are users, right? So that's why I have explained all this process. Okay. Now, in the users, how many users we have? So this is Sanjay account, right? Three users we have: Chaitu, Sanjay, and Testu. These are the three number of users. I was saying, now I am working on repositories or pipelines or boards. I am working on repositories. So click on repositories. As of now, we were discussing only about Azure repos, but not anything about pipelines, test plans, or anything. So if you want to see related settings related to, like if you want to see any settings related to repos, you can go to the repos and see what is a gravatar image. It's just a simple image. So I'll show you. If you go to Azure DevOps, here one you see one image, right? This is called gravatar image. So simple things. And whenever you create a repository, what is the default branch? Main branch. Now I don't want it to be main. I want to make it as master. Main or master, these two are common. In some companies they use it as main, in some companies they use it as master. Now what I want to do is each and every time I create a repository, by default it is giving me main. I don't want main. I want to make it as a master. How can I make it? Go to repositories and see this option. Default branch name for new repositories. So click on this, enable it and make it as master. Is it going to change the existing one? No. Existing one it is not going to change. Only the new repositories it is going to work. I just kept master, right? I just turned it on and I kept it as master. Now you want to prove it. How can you prove? Go to DevOps. In this project, try to create one more repository. New repository, keep it as ABC. Just start. See, I'm able to see master as the default branch, right? For ABC repository. So that's what the settings that you need to. This was an interview question. Whenever I create a repository, by default I am getting main branch. I don't want main branch. I want it to be master branch. So where you need to change the options. You need to go for organization settings under the repos. You need to change that from the default to the main. Sorry, from the main to the master. Okay. Till this point, it is fine. As of now, we were discussing only repos, right? In the repos, how many options we have? We have only two options. This is related to the organization setting. Now let's see about the project settings. So wherever you are, if you want to go back to the home page, you can click on here. So right now I am under project called IRCTC. Now let's see the settings related to the repos for project. Go to project settings and go to repos. Click on the repos. How many repositories do we have? These three repositories. Go to settings. What is the default branch name for the new repositories? If you want to enable, you can enable from here also. And let's go to policies. What do you mean by policy? Adding the number of see, for example, there are 10 people as developers. They are trying to write the code. They are making the changes in the future branch, and finally they are merging the changes into master branch or main branch. I want to specify some policies for them. What kind of policies? Whoever is trying to push the code changes to the future branch, if their email ID starts from, if the email ID or the domain name ends at the rate wipro.com, I want to block them. Can you do it? Yes, we can do it. Commit author email validation. Whoever, see, block pushes with a commit author email that doesn't match the following pattern. For example, I want to block the people who starts with, who ends with their email address ends with wipro.com, or else I want to block the people whose email ID ends with hcl.com. This is the domain, like this is the domain, right? If you join in any company, your email ID will be at the rate their company.com. Like this, it is going to be. So whoever is from Wipro and HCL, I just want to block their pushes. You can do it with this. And second, see the file path validation. So if you turn on this, block pushes from introducing file path that matches the following pattern. Here it is saying that, okay, first I want to show you what is pattern. I have Ramesh, no, okay, Ramesh, Mahesh, Suresh, Naveen. Okay, I want to find out the number of people whose name is ending with SH. How many people are whose name is ending with SH? Okay, if there are 2000 lines, like 2000 names are there, Inside that, you want to find out the number of persons whose name is ending with sh. Is it easy for you? No. No. Now what you need to do is whose name ending with which one? sh. Okay. In front of that, it might be anything, right? In front of sh, it might be anything, but ending should be sh. So for anything, I am going to mention it as star. Star means anything. Now I will give you one more scenario. So file1.txt and file2.exe, file3.json and file4.cs project. I have these four files with different extensions. One is text file, one is executable file, another is JSON file, another is CS project. Out of these four files, I want to get the output of only text file. Now tell me what is the pattern that I need to use here. Okay, ending with T. Okay, next. In front of it, I want to get the output of only text files, not .exe or anything. Okay, you are going to mention it as txt, and in front of it, it is dot, right? So you are looking for only .txt, and in front of that name will be anything. So star.txt, right? So this is called as pattern. Okay. Now go back to this. Block pushes from introducing the file path that match the following pattern. So whoever is trying to push their code into home, root, anything inside A folder, inside movies folder, whoever is trying to push their branch, like whoever is trying to push the code into this specific path, I just want to block them. So you can mention the file path validation. Okay. See, block pushes from introducing the file path that match the following pattern. You can do this also. Now, case enforcement. What is case enforcement? For example, if I am admin, right? No, take this. The name of the file is admin. So instead of A, some people will write at the rate and they say that it is an admin. So whoever is trying to use this kind of special case enforcement, I just want to block this. For example, we have one more files like I just want one example. Take this. Test to fraud. We have this file. Some people what they do is they just keep to test to fraud. I want to block these kind of things. Can you do it? Yes, you can do it. Case enforcement. Avoid case sensitivity conflicts by blocking the pushes that change name case casing on files, folders, branches, tags. So if you want to enable this also, you can enable. Okay, as of now, not required. What is the reserved names? For example, in my code, I have secrets as the folder name. If somebody is trying to use one more folder name called secret, I don't want to make them allow it. So block pushes that introduce the file folders or branch names that include the platform reserved names. So by default, if you have a secret as a folder, if you want to again try to create one more folder called secret, it is not going to work for you. So if you want to reserve the names, that also you can do. What is the maximum path length? Inside slash home, inside that I am having movies, inside movies I am having Telugu, inside Telugu I am having one more folder. Like this, how many folders they can create? So if you want to block the maximum path of the length, see 248 is the maximum length. 248 folders, till that you can go. If you want to make it only 4 folders, you can make it 4. If they try to create fifth folder inside that, it won't allow. So that's why I'm just going to stop this. What is the maximum file size? So as of now, what we are sending We are just trying to sending the data only like 1 KB or 2 KB of text files. Can I just upload a video into my repository? Is it possible or not possible? What do you think? Can I upload a video with 10 MB? Okay. Can I upload a .jpg file? In the repository, whatever you want to store, you can store. But there are some limitations. The file size should be 10 MB. By default, it is 10 MB. If you want to make it up to 200 MB, you can make it and upload it. So these are some default branching policies. Like this is a repository policy. And if you see here, this is repository policies. On the repository wise, there will be a number of branches. In each branch, I want to follow all the policies. Okay. Now you will be having a question. Repository wise, there will be a number of branches. So on all branches, is it going to work or only one branch? On all the branches, it is going to work. Now I want to execute a policy only on branch level. That is called as branch policy. Okay. Why do we use branch policies? This is what the important question. And this is an interview question. Why are you creating future branch? Why are you creating the future branch? We should not disturb the original code in the main branch. So that's why we created future branch and we are merging it. Okay. If everybody is able to create a future branch and finally going to merge the changes into main branch, is there any security? No. I want to protect my main branch. Why I am going to protect my main branch? Because I have my original code there only. I want to protect it. How you can protect it? So go to branching policies, click on this plus symbol. What do you want to protect? What kind of branch you want to protect? Protect the default branch of each repository. That means what is the default branch? Yes, create it. So these are the branching policies. Require a minimum number of reviewers. For example, I created a pull request. Once I created a pull request, the request will go to my manager, team leader, and everybody. Once they approve the request, then only my changes will be merged into the main branch. Is it going to provide security or not? So requiring the require means like adding the minimum number of reviewers. Check for linked work items. Ignore this. Wherever you see work item, ignore that. I will tell you when we are discussing that about boards. In the boards, you can see work items, right? So this is what they are discussing here. So when we are discussing about it, we will later. I will let you know about this. Check for comment resolution. Check to see all the comments has been resolved on pull request. So whatever the comments that you are trying to pull, like trying to match, whether all the comments has been resolved or not. If you want to see that, you can see it. Limit the match types. If you remember, when I am trying to merge, I have shown you 4 different images. Merge, no fast forward, rebase and merge, and squash commit linear. 4 types I have shown you. So if you want to limit the merge type to something, see, basic merge, rebase and fast forward, squash merge, and rebase with merge commit. If you want to limit the merge type to only a specific one, we can do this. But as of now, just keep that as turned off. Okay. I will explain you what that each image is going to show you. Okay, see this. So, on a very basic level, first what I am going to do is I want to add some reviewers. So once I add the reviewer, whenever I create a pull request, what needs to be done? Once they approve, then only my changes are going to be merged into the main branch. This is what the first security that I want to provide. So just enable this. How many number of reviewers you want to add? I want to add 2 number of reviewers. Okay. Allow requesters to approve their own changes. If they approve, like if they have created a pull request, can they approve their own pull request? Yes. If you enable this, they will be able to. Okay, this was fine. Prohibit the most recent pusher from approving their own changes. Even if you want, like I am the, see, in this account I am the only one user. who is creating the pull request, and at the same time I want to approve the pull request also. If you want to do that, first you need to enable the first option. Prohibit the most recent pusher. So whoever has recently pushed the changes, if you want him to decline that, you can make it. See, approving their own changes. Allow completion even if some reviewers vote to wait or reject. Even if it is waiting for some, what do you call, completion. See, allow completion even if some reviewers vote to wait or reject. If they simply keep wait or reject, so then also complete that. If you want to make it, you can make it. So basically in real time what happens is they are going to enable two or three or four people, and they are going to enable this one, first one, and also the last one. Whenever new changes are pushed, most probably it will be only the first one. They are not going to use this last three, they are not going to use. Only they are going to use approve their own changes. And how many number of reviewers I'm adding? Two. Now tell me one point. Required and optional. What is the difference between these two? Required and optional. Optional, okay. What is the difference between mandatory and optional? Mandatory means compulsory. Optional means either yes or no, anything. Like the same way, if I just keep required, and that means they are very mandatory. So I am having three users. I want to keep them at least two members as required. That means mandatory. These two people should approve, or else it is not going to accept. So required number of reviewers. How many people I am keeping? I am just keeping two people. And somebody has unmuted. Akila, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thanks. And yeah, I'm just adding the number of reviewers as two people. Okay. Work items, ignore this, and comment resolution and limit merge types. You have already seen this. Now, what is this build validation and what is the status check? This you will understand when we are discussing about the pipelines. So just leave these two as of now. So I just kept two number of reviewers as required. But did you add the usernames? No, right? So just go down below and here you can see automatically include the reviewers. So here I want to add the number of reviewers. So just add. Do you want to make him as optional or required? Required. What is the username? I am going to make Chaitanya. And also I want to make the one more person test two. I want to add these two people as required. In which folder they need to accept. So if you want to specify any kind of folder structure, that also you can specify. But in real time, nobody is going to specify the folder structure. Just save this. What I have done was I created a branching policy. The branching policy is whenever any pull request is raised, there should be two number of reviewers required. Those two members are these two people. Okay. Now tell me, if I directly go to my main branch, if I try to add, will it allow me or not? ఇప్పుడు నేను డైరెక్ట్గా మెయిన్ బ్రాంచ్కి వెళ్తాను, వెళ్ళి అక్కడ నేను కొన్ని చేంజెస్ చేయాలనుకుంటాను, అది వర్కౌట్ అవుతాయా అవ్వ? ఓకే, సో లెట్స్ సీ. So I'm in the master branch right now in the rich repository ABC. I want to create a file. So click on new file. Write some file name. Let me make it meaningful. File one. Just try to create it. And now commit it. See there. Pushes to this branch are not permitted. You must use a pull request to update this branch. So what do you understand by this? You have protected the main branch or not? Yes. Now you will have a question. I will create one more branch. I will create the pull request and I will try to merge the changes into main branch. Even then also, the required number of reviewers need to approve, right? Then only your code changes are going to be merged. So this way I can protect the main branch. Understood? Now let's create one more branch. This way I am not able to directly merge the changes into main branch. So I have protected it. I am going to create a future branch based on whatever the code that we have in the master. Take everything and create it in the future branch. Like no, no. What it is doing? New branch, future. The specific branch name already exists. So I'm going to keep it as Chaitanya. This is the branch name. Yes. So in the APC repository, I already have earlier future. So I just created a branch name called Chaitanya. Now Chaitanya wants to add some file into this branch. Did we protect Chaitanya branch or main branch? Main branch we protected. Now will we be like do we have any chance to make the code changes here? Here also no. Okay. Which branch you protected? Master or main? Anything is same. Now I created which branch? Is it possible for me to make the changes in the Chaitanya branch or not? Yes, that's what I asked. So in Chaitanya branch, you can create it. So even if Chaitanya branch is also protected, then how you can add the original code again? So Chaitanya, write something and commit the changes and see. In this branch, I am able to make the changes. Now I am done with the changes. I want to merge the changes from this branch to the master branch or main branch. How I need to do? I need to create a pull request. So just create the pull request. I want to merge from Chaitanya into master branch and see here. I'm not changing anything, so just create and see. Two required reviewers must approve and see who are the reviewers. These two are the reviewers. Once they approve, what happens was it shows that it is approved, and you will be able to see approve here. Even if you approve, it is not going to make any change for you. It is just says that this person has approved. But until unless these two persons approve, it is not going to match the changes. They need to mandatorily they need to approve it, or else this is not going to work. So until unless these two persons sign up with their email ID, and once they log in into the Azure DevOps, they will see the pull request and they will just click on approve. Then only this pull request gets completed. Now consider a scenario. Now Chaitu is a person and Test2 is a person. These two are your reviewers. These two people are on leave for the next 10 days. Then what is your next step? These two people are on leave. Will you call them and ask them to match, approve it? No, right? You cannot call them. You can. Oh, you are correct, but I need the technical term. Make these two people as from required to optional. Whoever is sitting beside you, other team members, add them as a required people. Understood? That way you can do it, right? So that is the case that even if you want to do it, you can do it. For example, if you add the users here itself, you can do it. Required or optional? I want to add optional user, something called Sanjay. I can add optional. But I want to make these two people right. What I can do? I need to make these two people to optional. Now tell me where you can make the change. Hmm? Okay, project settings. Go to repository. As of now, I'm working on repository only, right? Okay. Policies, branching policy. Here, just make them as optional and save this. You guys have answered it very easily, but earlier batches nobody answered it. Okay, so I just made these two people as optional and just save this. That's it. Now, till this point, it is fine. Okay, I'm able to add the number of reviewers because it's already 11:47. So if you keep on, okay, try to practice till this point, and tomorrow we will be able to see some more points. Okay, till this point, any doubt?